we'll look at this book review, yeah, The Psychology of Money from Morgan Housel. Yeah, I've just picked up those important points and definitely we'll try to look at the first thing. What he says is, please understand this. What he says is, for financial success, don't think that I have to be very intelligent or something, right? For financial success, lot depends on how you behave, and of course, luck is also a factor. And he explains it with a very good real life example. Yeah. This guy Robert Reed is his full name, right? He was a high school graduate. That's all. Yeah. He was working in gas station, cleaning the car and all that stuff. And before that, he was almost for 25 years, he was doing that job. Before that, another 17 years, he was sweeping in some of the places. And so that is the kind of income you are getting, right? A high school graduate, that's all, doing this kind of normal. He had bought a house for some $12,000 and all that stuff. The important point here is in 2014, when he died, he was almost 92 years. Right? And that time, almost 3 million people died. And out of the 3 million people, only 4,000 had this kind of money, $8 million assets. Right? And Robert Reed was one of those 4,000 guys. Right? A guy who is a normal high school graduate and was doing an ordinary job could create a wealth like this for the simple reason is he was saving regularly, investing in equity, stocks, and all that, and he was holding his investment. That is the most important. Now, compare this with a guy who has done a finance course from Harvard, same period. He has done a finance course from Harvard, earning well. At the age of 40, he thought he will take retirement. He had a 18,000 square feet house with 11 bedrooms and whatnot, swimming pool and whatnot. Right? Greed was there. You already have 11 bedrooms, swimming pool, everything. Still, he went and borrowed money to expand this. Right. 2008 market crash when it happened, he lost his entire money. Whatever he borrowed, all had zero value. He had to sell his house to repay all the money. And literally is on the roads. Why I'm saying is, this is the story to confirm our belief that financial success has little to do with intelligence or knowledge. It is the discipline which is very important and the ability to be patient. This is all will create wealth for you. No other secrets. Yeah. The discipline and the patience is what is going to take you. So very nice learning. The next learning from this book is luck and risk. Right? Because honestly, you have to be lucky. When whatever written, it is my personal thing, nothing official about it. Your karma decides your return. I strongly believe in it. You may question it, because knowledgeable person like you, how can you say that? Because it plays a role. See, how much return you get depends on your luck, honestly. Yeah. So that's where I said, was do good karma. This is other than this program. Always do good karma. I think you'll be taken care of. Right? That is one aspect of it. I am not saying you have to do karma to get better returns. That is not the inference. The point is somewhere that luck factor comes in investment. So if you ask me, boss, how I can become lucky, the answer to that question is, was do good karma. Probably you will have some good luck in your life. Right. So that is one. Why I am again giving an example here is Bill Gates was lucky enough to join a school which had a computer. None of the schools had a computer. This school thought about computers and they invested in a computer, and Bill Gates was fortunate enough to join that school. Right? You can say that, 4 million children, and he was one guy who was lucky to get admission in that school which had a computer. That's where his interest started. Right. And if you remember, this guy started Microsoft along with Paul Allen. Right. All the three of them were schoolmates: Paul Allen, Bill Gates, and Evans. Among the three, this Evans was the smartest guy among the three. Bill Gates himself admits, but he was too smart in computers. Unfortunately, what happened is he died in a mountaineering accident before he completed his high school. Probably he took that risky adventure and he lost his life. Otherwise, he would have been also one of the founders of Microsoft. Why I'm saying is sometimes risk is a part of your life. That's where you may call it as unlucky also. Right? But what is important is always remember this: nothing is as good or as bad as it seems. Yeah. We have to keep this. Why? Because sometimes we compare with our neighbors, our friends, and say, "Boss, this guy has made lot of money." You will come and boast also. I invested in this stock. I invested in that stock. I invested here. I invested there. I invested in derivatives. I made money. People will always talk about the positive. Nobody will talk about negatives. Nobody will talk about negatives. That's where this perception. We don't know what is the fact. So don't even think about it. Just think about yourself. Boss, what is it I need? What is it I should do? That's all. Don't even look at others and say, boss, he has made so much money. Why is that I'm not able to make money? All that is irrelevant. Because I have to lead my life. Whatever money I require to lead that life, you focus on that. Right, that's where don't even compare with it. So the point here is luck and risk is part of your investment journey. Return is not because of you took a great decision or something. It doesn't work like, honestly, I mean, trust me, if you have made good money, many of you might have made money. Don't even think that boss, I had great knowledge. Be humble. Probably you are lucky. So as I'm, that's it. Right. So luck plays a factor. So be clear about it. That's where I said talked about karma. Yeah. And the next lesson here is how to grow your money or create wealth. Answer is very simple. Only time and the patience. Right? So here he explains with a classic. He gives all real life examples. Right? Morgan Housel, the author, just to convince each of those points, he gives real life examples so that we can learn from that. So the classic case is of Warren Buffett. He has around $84.5 billion net worth. Right? He started investing at the age of 10, and at the age of 30, he had $1 million. Now that has accumulated to 84.5. But the major accumulation has come because after 60. Right? What it tells us, the compounding effect will start after some time only. It doesn't start from the day one. Right? That's where I always say, was creating a 10 crore asset is not difficult provided you give time, because the compounding itself will work. Right? The first people always give this example, right? 15 into 15 into 15, right? 15% return with 15,000 per month for 15 years will create 1 crore or something. All these things are available in the market. You will get to know it. The point here is it may take 15 years to get 1 crore. Right? If money doubles in the 5 years, in the next 5 years, it becomes 2 crore. In the next 5 years, it becomes 4 crore. The effect of compounding becomes much greater. You can't even imagine. You can create a 10 crore wealth easily, provided you have the discipline of investing and hold it. More important is holding on to that investment. Right? So that's where he says with a small base, make it. To explain the impact of the time, he is giving another example. What is that? He says, if instead of $1 million, if Warren Buffett had only $25,000 at the age of 30, and if he had retired at 60, his net worth will be only 11.9 billion when compared to what he has to. That's where I said, if you want to create wealth, two things are, boss, the discipline and the time. That is what will help you to really create. But on the contrary, what we feel always is, boss, I should get high return to create wealth. No, that is where he is saying, boss, with a decent return, if you have give time and be disciplined enough to make regular investment, you can create wealth with a lesser return. So remove from your mind that I can only create wealth if I invest in very risky investments or by getting higher returns. No. This is what Warren Buffett's example itself is very clear to me. Yeah. Next is very important. Again, a classic example, right? Another important aspect is you may become wealthy, but can you continue to stay wealthy is very, very important. You might have created wealth, right? Very important to protect that wealth. Very, very important, right? That's where he was sharing this classic example, right? Two people named Jesse Livermore and Abraham Germansky. 1929 US market, there was a huge crash. Right? Now, somebody who could foresee this, he went short in the market. This Jesse guy, he could see that market is going to crash, so he went short, right? Which means short means you are selling the asset. So through derivatives and all, you could do that. So he made almost $3 billion on that single day. Remember this, huh? On that single day when this market crashed heavily, he could make $3 billion on a single day. Yeah? There was another investor who had bet heavily thinking that markets will go up and all that stuff. He was invested heavily. So that other guy, Abraham Germansky, he lost a lot of money. We keep hearing in the newspaper reports also, right? All this recently also I saw somebody in Coimbatore, husband and wife committed suicide because they lost money in stock market and all that stuff, right? Or we keep hearing these stories, right? Now, the point here is Germansky lost all his money because the market went down and then he committed suicide. At least we can accept it, right? Though we'd have said you should not have taken risk, all that is okay. But at least I can understand what has driven him to commit suicide. What we can't understand is the guy who created $3 billion, he became greedy and started taking more risk. Right now, that actually led him to lose all his money, and this guy committed suicide after 4 months. Right now, see this contradicting story. The guy who created wealth was lucky, as we said, right? He was lucky to create that $3 billion, would have simply sat with it. Instead, he became greedy. He went and took more risk of his investments and he lost everything. And finally, he also committed suicide. Right? So the point here is, was very important. If you want to stay wealthy, was have a decent lifestyle. Don't try to follow an extravagant lifestyle. Don't take unnecessary risk when you have already created wealth. And be humble. Always say that, boss, today you have a lot of wealth. Thank God. And always say that, boss, I'm lucky to have this. That's all. These two things I keep telling me daily. Whatever I am today, I thank God, boss. I'm happy with whatever I have. Point number one. Point number two is I thank him for at least giving me whatever I have. That's all. Why I'm saying is, boss, if you think the moment you think that, boss, I'm a great guy, I mean, I created so much wealth, it is all because of me. It is me who have created this wealth. My decisions were great, boss, you'll fall one day. Why? Because you become greedy. Then you say, how I can multiply? Already, see, for example, if, I mean, and the normal calculation is, I mean, because I retired, I'm working on all this calculation. A person who is 60 today, you want to live a decent life, somewhere between 2.5 crore to 3.5 crore is what the capital you require, right? I'm saying when I say decent living, 1 lakh per month of expenses and some trips here, there, and all that stuff, right? So you need a capital of 2.5 crore to 3.5 crore. 3.5 crore if you have, probably you'll be very comfortable. 2.5 crore if you have, maybe you can still go through for another 30 years, right? The point here is, at this point in time, if I have 10 crore, right, I should be too happy and should not worry about anything. Instead, if I start thinking how my 10 crore become 20 crore and all that stuff, then I'm getting into unnecessary risk. If I have more than what I require, why should I? Very, very important. That's where I said, was be clear where to take risk. Always I keep saying this. Very, very clear you should be when to take risk, where to take risk. Very, very important. Right. But to become wealthy, you have to take risk. As Ramlingam sir was saying, I have to beat inflation, I have to take risk. Please understand the difference. If you have already created wealth, what is important is to maintain. So there you need not take much of a risk. But if you have to create wealth, you have to take risk and also be optimistic. People said 2020, because the world will crash, everything will go, entire economy will go. Right now, we don't know. Right, what has happened, we know now. Hindsight, we can say now, because nothing like that happened. On that day, people will not believe if I say nothing will happen. So in investments, we need to be optimistic. You can't think that the world will die, then you should not invest. If you think that tomorrow world is going to end, then why do I need money? The more basic question is, why do I need money if I'm not going to be there tomorrow? It is only for the family, right? So insurance. So the point here is two different. If somebody is wealthy, you need not take risk, right? But to get wealthy, you have to take risk. That is the message which you are giving here. Yeah. And then the next slide is, again, it talks more about savings. Yeah. It doesn't talk about returns. It doesn't talk about where you are investing. All it says is, but saving is the most important thing. If you want to become wealthy, please remember you need to really save a lot. So what he tries to do in this, or what is that he is trying to say here is, he says beyond a certain level of income, when you have reached in your career, people can be classified into three groups. What are those three groups? People who say that, yeah, I can still save. Some people will still say, boss, even now I am not able to save. I can understand at the initial stage of life, right? But when you are in that middle age group of 35 or 40, you can't say, I cannot save, which means something you are doing basically wrong, right? And there are people who say, there is no need to save. These are the three groups of people who have crossed some time in their life. Yeah. But the key to wealth is saving money. Please remember, we always think the other way. We always feel that higher return will create more wealth. No. The more you save, more wealth you will create. Because with lesser risk also you'll be able. So saving has to be the prime factor to create wealth. No second thoughts on it. Right. And you'll be able to save more only if you spend less. Right. Otherwise, you will not be able to save. That's where I'm saying, if somebody comes and say, I'm not able to save, means because you are making something mess, which means either you are spending on something which is not necessary, or you have to ask yourself, but where this money is going. If you feel that it is genuinely going for genuine reasons, then you don't have a choice. You have to see how better you can earn more income to save more. Right? So the point is, the most important raw material to create wealth is savings, because when you have money in the bank account, it gives you a lot of options. Right? Say for example, I mean, we have heard this, right? IT, especially in USA, a lot of people lost jobs and all that stuff. One is the visa part of it, which is they will handle it. More important part is you have a good saving, you have a lot of money in your bank account. It gives you time. You may shift to another country, you may have time to take up another job. All that is possible. That's where I said, boss, save more. Ensure that you have a decent bank balance or a saving, so that what do you say, kind of situation which is not in favor of you, you are still able to manage it, right? That's where the important message of this is, saving money is important, and that is what will create wealth, not returns, right? That is what I wanted to highlight in this. And of course, if we have to summarize the book, right, the important takeaways from the book, if you ask me, these are the points. First point, I'm again repeating, reinforcing what you have said earlier. To become wealthy, you don't need to be a finance expert. Develop the right mindset and behavior. This is what he calls it, psychology of money. Your behavior is what is going to decide whether you will create wealth or you will end up on the losing side. Behavior, especially when it is against your expectation. Behavior when markets crash, right? So this behavior is what he is referring it as psychology of money, because he was trying to understand when this 2008 crash, why this has happened, why people behave so irrational. Right? He was trying to explain that. That's how this book came into picture. That's where he started highlighting. So people make these basic mistakes. That's where you land into trouble, right? Because they unnecessarily, the banks lent money to the ineligible guys, and ultimately it all turned into a loss, right? All that things is happening because greediness. Right? Next important point, true wealth lies in living frugally. As I said, if you want to maintain your wealth, boss, you have to have a decent living, be humble. Yeah, don't think that everything is because of you, and don't take risk when it is not required. Yeah, because if you decide to flaunt, because we see people, right? They will come and say, no, this month I am going to Dubai, next month I am going to US, next month I am going to Europe. You might see people like this also. The point here is, boss, why should you flaunt your wealth? No, you want to go quietly and come. Why should you tell the whole world you are going? And these days, so we'll get to know also, because we post in Facebook and other all this social websites and all that, right? So what I'm saying is, don't flaunt your wealth, yeah, because that guy, right? He made $3 billion and committed suicide after 4 months. Right? If he had not taken that risk, the other guy again, who had already 11-bedroom apartment, 18,000 square feet, where was the need to go and borrow money and expand it further? You didn't even have the basic thing. You lost everything then, right? That's where very, very important. Don't take risk, because the money can go off quickly the way it came also. Because I still remember, I mean, people used to tell those days, at least now nobody is talking. I made so much money in Bitcoin and it became this much, that much, and all that stuff. I don't know where they are today. Right? What I'm saying is, all this kind of money will also go the way it comes. So you should be clear, boss, where to take risk, when to take risk, how much to take risk. Yeah. And if you are a spending guy, ask yourself, boss, whether you are spending on the right things, right? Where you are spending your money. And I will end with this final quote of Bill Gates, who says that success is a lousy teacher, because it seduces smart people into thinking that they can't lose. Very, very dangerous. You see more success, you feel that, boss, whatever I'm doing is right. So you think that, no, yeah, I understand the market very well. I know, I have experience. So until you meet failure, you will not learn the lesson. That's where he says that success is a lousy teacher. Yeah. So I'll end here.
Thanks for your detailed explanation. Are you in search of a personal guide who can remove the stress of handling your finances? Then please feel free to avail our expert consultation. And also you can attend our webinars to gain investment related insights. Both the consultation and webinar are absolutely free, and you can find the link in the below description. Please like and share, and do subscribe to Holistic Investment.